It's been a week of unrest after the community of Southport was rocked by a senseless knife attack on a children's dance class. Is chaos going to be the new normal? The Chancellor's turning down the heat and stripping millions of pensioners of their winter fuel allowance because who needs warmth anyway? And the BBC's reputation takes yet another hit because former newsreader Huw Edwards has pleaded guilty to making indecent images of children. I'm Mike Graham and this is The Talk. And joining me today, it's Kevin O'Sullivan, it's Peter Bleksley and it's the one and only Mr James Whale. Very good day to all of you. It's been a very strange week, guys, hasn't it? I mean, what we've had is an incredibly awful, ghastly event that took place where innocent lives, little children aged between 6 and 11 were attacked by a mad knife man. Nobody knows why. He's now been charged. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But Kevin, I mean, let me come to you first, because aside from the fact that there's an awful lot of anger in Southport because of what happened, that anger's spread all over the country now. We've had riots in London, we've had riots, mini riots, I suppose you might call them. We've had riots in Hartlepool, we had a riot in Southport where police were getting hit by bricks and police cars being set on fire. What's going on in the country?
This is what worried me. Look, no one is condoning what happened in Southport, that riot. It was very sad, given that that community was traumatised already. However, to just say, well, that's down to right-wing thugs, that's down to the EDL, is to mischaracterise what is really going on. Now, I say that millions and millions of Brits, while they would never behave like that crowd in Southport, feel exactly the same. What they feel is that somehow the moderate and sensible country they grew up is being lost. And so when Keir Starmer and Yvette Cooper rose up in rage, these right-wing thugs, they will feel the full force of the law. Thanks, Keir. How many arrests were there? Oh, I know, 1. So they didn't really feel the full force of the law. Yvette Cooper, for example, and Keir, we didn't even hear from them after the Leeds riot. So if there's a riot involving ethnic people, involving Muslims, you know, when they went to the Rochdale police station after the Manchester cop beating, for example, that we don't even hear from people like Cooper. But as soon as they've got their pantomime villains, right-wing thugs, they're there. This is outrageous. Well, they are missing the damn point.
They are.
This country is a tinderbox of tension, and they better get real about it.
It's about all of us. Because as far as they're concerned, we're probably right-wing extremists for having the views you express. And I'm fed up with it, absolutely fed up with it. Because if you actually disagree with the namby-pamby, wokey, snivelling left-wing media, which is inhabited by these people who have very little life experience, you would actually start to believe that. You know, you call someone like Nigel Farage, who's done very well in politics, he's very well thought of. He's not an extreme right-wing agitator. There are some. And for the reasons that actually Kevin eloquently put, if I might say so.
Thank you, James.
He's right, that if it carries on this way, there will become more of the extreme right-wing, which none of us want to see, becoming more and more violent. Because at the moment, the namby-pamby media, the idiots that come out of university and all completely...
It's all about racism, isn't it? That's
absolutely.
The thing. I mean,
it's
Peter,
going to get worse.
we were talking about this earlier on in the week. That, you know, there's a lot of these people out there who feel they don't have a voice. They're not represented by the politicians. I mean, when Keir Starmer went and laid a wreath at the site of the murders up in Southport, that was when the trouble started, because people started shouting at him and heckling him and saying, "What are you doing here? You've just come for a photo opportunity. Get lost. When are you going to change anything?"
The lazy labelling of anybody who is concerned about the increasing Islamophobic, beg your pardon, about the increasing Islamification of Britain to be lazily labelled right-wing is wrong. There are clerics that can be easily found on social media clips who are talking about their desire to overtake the UK and make it a Sharia state and some kind of caliphate. So people are getting concerned about people who don't look like them, share their culture, follow anything remotely what some may regard as British. And those people are concerned. if you kick a garden wall down in Southport and throw a brick, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But many people who are essentially sensible, moderate, and reasonable kind of people have concerns.
Yes, and they've finally been triggered after all this time, because you might say, why has this never happened before? But they've finally been triggered after all this time, because it often just takes one event, and this one particular event, which has happened in the last week, has been that trigger.
I think it's the latest of quite a few, and Peter's right. What we're talking about is the Islamification of this country. People can see this happening, and they see politicians, they see coppers, they see the authorities terrified to confront the reality of what's going on. So when the right-wing thugs turned up, oh my God, we've got a target, we've got our pantomime.
An easy target.
Yeah, Yvette Cooper. No one can find, she's the damn Home Secretary. No one can find any record of her saying anything at all about what happened in Leeds. Her and Keir go up to Southport, sort of perfunctory lay a wreath. Isn't it terrible? Can only imagine the agony of the parents, all that. Then there's the riot that night. Yvette Cooper is filmed in the lobby of Parliament, her face twisted with rage. These right-wing thugs will pay a price for this, all of a sudden. And now that is deflecting away from what really is going on. It isn't right-wing thugs. OK, they caused that riot. Most people wouldn't do it. But what they're thinking about the loss of their country, millions and millions of decent Brits are thinking
They have to take it seriously.
Well, that's the other thing.
Because if they don't, we will be in big trouble.
We will. They arrested about 100 people in London the other night, and about, I would say, 60 or so of them were ordinary people going about their business who wanted to show solidarity with these horrible, the victims of this horrible attack. The attacker, by the way, has been named, and his name is Axel Ruda Cubana. He's a 17-year-old. Some people call him a boy. I would call him a youth at the very least. I
think a few other names for him.
There are a few other names, but of course, innocent until proven guilty and all of that. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who people have sort of reacted to because at the time the police gave out no information whatsoever about who they had arrested.
And of course, what happened was some kind of bot account on social media put out a load of completely untrue nonsense, and people who are going to take things at first sight, if they believe that, it was deliberately created to stir up hatred and tensions, and it was just utter nonsense.
But that hatred is still there below the surface. Ordinary people, the ones who turned out on Saturday in the middle of London, that was called an extreme right wing. It was not. Unfortunately, the mainstream media, again, hardly covered it. Hardly spoke about it.
Lazy labelling. Just hang that far right-wing thing.
And I think, again, the media have got a lot to say about that, which brings us on rather neatly to our next story, Kevin, which is
Huw Edwards. Let's talk about Huw Edwards.
The doyen of the BBC.
The face of the station, the trusted chief anchor of the state broadcaster.
Right.
Now, the crux of this,
Who's just pleaded guilty to being a paedophile.
He's just pleaded guilty
let's face it.
to 3 counts of child pornography images, of making images of children, and 7 of them, 41 altogether, 7 of them were of the most serious category, category A, and you can work
moving
out what
images
that
of a
means.
7-year-old.
So exactly right. I don't want to go into details, but you know what that means. So this guy, who the state broadcaster elevated to this great position of authority and trust, turns out to be a sordid paedophile. And let me tell you, I know about the BBC and I know people who work there. People knew about this guy. He's been approaching pretty young guys in the BBC newsroom for years. Years. It has emerged today. I mean, talk about depravity, that when he went down to cover the funeral of Prince Philip, you remember the famous moment with the Queen sitting alone with her mask. He was in a hotel, in a plush hotel suite, trying to lure a pretty young male producer down through lockdown, disobey lockdown, come down and see me, let's have a night of sex. That is what that guy was up to. Now, worse than that.
This is a report that's just come out.
It's just come out today. Now, when I know about that story, trust me. And when it emerged this week, suddenly on Monday, the police and the CPS announced, oh, by the way, Huw Edwards is about to be in court in 2 days' time, charged with pornographic sex offences, child sex offences. The BBC, God, we're as shocked as anyone. We had no idea.
Right.
Liars.
No, I quite agree with you. He was taken off the air, but then everybody apparently felt sorry for him because he had mental health issues. I'm sick and bloody tired of mental health issues.
Hear, hear.
He also managed to sort of somehow get the entire sort of what you might call lefty press behind him to say, isn't the Sun terrible for doing that? Aren't they awful? Why are they looking into somebody's private life?
Why is the media? Here's a question. Why is the media on the left, the what we call the mainstream media, and Ofcom, so happy together? Why don't Ofcom ever come after some of them?
Yeah, they never do.
Because,
you
you cannot be more left-wing than the BBC and now Sky.
Exactly.
I mean, they're all becoming really, we want to follow the agenda and don't want to go
Let's
off.
hear from Peter on this.
And look at Edwards yesterday. As he goes into court. There's the quiff.
Yes.
There's the designer glasses. There is the air and the arrogance.
Right. Oh, here's a question for you. How does he get a personal police escort to go into a court to plead guilty to a paedophile offence?
Who made a phone call so he could have a team of police officers to escort him into court? Who made that phone?
Who did?
Who supplied it?
Right.
I mean,
but who's paying for them?
nonsense.
Who's paying for them? I've never seen in my entire time of covering court cases, I don't think I've ever seen a perpetrator be actually escorted into court by the police. I've never seen it.
But you know the BBC, James, I do, I know it well. Its first impulse is towards secrecy. Don't, for God's sake, tell those grubby little licence fee payers anything. And the bosses knew about him being charged with these offences back in November, as you say, Mike. The newsroom, the journalists, they kept that secret from the journalists. Sophie Rayworth, when she announced this last night on the BBC News, you could see she was furious, and I don't blame them. Tim Davey, the useless Director General, has been called to Parliament today to talk to the Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, and nothing will happen.
No,
nothing will happen. He should be fired.
He should lose his job.
Sorry, guys. BBC have already been told their licence fee is not in question.
Exactly.
Well,
Labour.
it should be in question. And why do we need the BBC when we have so much media available to us? Not only we can get media now easily from anywhere in the world, wherever you want to watch it. We shouldn't.
You can even
have
watch the
to
BBC
pay a licence
on iPlayer if you wish.
Can I just ask one question? Why is the BBC, the state broadcaster that we all pay for, a protective refuge for paedophiles, for depraved paedophiles? Jimmy Savile, Rolf Harris, now Huw Edwards. What the hell is going on? Why does it protect these people?
I know. It is staggering. And also, Peter, I mean, it's a pretty good likelihood that Huw Edwards is going to go to jail. I presume by pleading guilty, he's hoping that basically he doesn't get jail time.
Well, I'm sorry to ruin your day, but in all likelihood, he probably won't get a custodial sentence. I'm afraid those who are convicted of possessing child sexual exploitation images do not get anywhere near the kind of sentence that they should. So just brace yourselves for a bit of disappointment. He's got early mitigation in because he pleaded guilty at the earliest opportunity. But I would very much hope that
because of course, the only reason they, of course, found him in the first place was because the police in Wales were doing an investigation into a known paedophile there, who it turned out had been in touch with and had the number of Huw Edwards.
And supplied images.
But by the way, when he was earning all this money, £200,000 he was paid for 5 months after being charged with these paedophile offences. At that point, he was already suspended in disgrace for forging an inappropriate relationship with a young man to whom he paid £35,000 for more dirty pictures. When that kid's mother phoned the BBC and said, for God's sake, stop Huw Edwards grooming my son, the BBC did sod all about it. And in frustration, she went to the Sun, and then all the great and the good start criticising the Sun. John Sopel, Andrew Marr, Owen Jones. How dare the Sun do this?
And can we please remember that behind every indecent image of child sexual exploitation, there is a child who is a victim.
Yeah, stay with us, though, because we've got more on some of the biggest stories of the week. It's all coming up next on The Talk. Welcome back to The Talk. James Whale, you're taking us through the next big topic that's hit the headlines this week, and it's all about
well, I'm
money.
slightly upset because as the eldest one here, that's why they've given me this story. But basically, the story is about taking away the fuel payment for pensioners.
Yes.
Now, I am a pensioner. And I think another person in this room is probably a pensioner as well.
There's probably more than one.
Yep,
very possibly.
Could well be.
Don't capture me.
You just look older than you are.
This is an appalling story because not only did the Labour Party, now government, I'm afraid, say they would never do this, and we've got that on tape and everything else.
Keir Starmer said it just 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
No axing of the winter fuel or that. Oh, unbelievable.
No, he attacked the Tories for threatening to do it.
Oh, okay.
But let's be honest about this. I mean, you know, those of us who probably still working don't need it. I mean, as soon as it comes through, I go out and spend it, so it goes back into the economy.
This is the heating allowance that
you only get.
But you only get it though if the temperature reaches a certain level, right? This is not
No. Absolute annual payment.
No. This is an annual payment, as Kevin knows, that we all get.
I don't get it.
Over.
So
no, you're not old enough.
I'm sorry,
yet.
I don't understand this.
You never will now.
Yeah, because by the time you get a pension, it'll be so.
Right.
Won't it?
£1 a year.
This is a serious point. There are a lot of people. If you had to live on the state pension, which is just under £1,000 a month, and you had no other income, and you had outgoings, that I think it's about between 300 and 500. I can't remember now exactly how much it is. Means a lot to a lot of people.
Oh, there's an awful lot of people who are very, very angry.
So
I mean, I'm
why
just
not
thinking.
add it to the higher rate tax or something, so that you can pay those people who need it. And then those people who don't need it will go straight back.
But isn't this is part of the problem of running government, isn't it? Because it's so sort of difficult to make something work. Where if you said to people, look, if you don't want this, why don't you just opt out? But they say they can't do that.
No.
I don't understand why they can't do that.
It's the politics of cruelty. The reason they're doing this, you know, Rachel Reeves says she's got to save money. It will save £1.1 billion.
Which is exactly what they're paying the junior doctors.
You know why they're
enough.
picking on old people? Because old people don't vote Labour.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she said, oh, we've got this £20 billion black hole in the public finances. Got to stop paying this money to the pensioners. Meanwhile, this government is spending £10 billion giving working from home public sector workers pay rises, massive pay rises, is wasting £10 billion on crazy Ed Miliband's eco crap,
Absolutely
all those ludicrous windmills. And let's check this out.
Hang on, sorry, it's for climate action around the world, Kevin.
Check this out. No, that's 10 billion for domestic expenditure on windmills. Check this out. Also, £11.5 billion to go to foreign countries for their climate projects. That is prioritised over pensioners freezing to death in this country. That's why Rachel Reeves is hereinafter known as the Granny Freezer.
The Granny Freezer, and we've been calling her Rachel Thieves as well.
Rachel Thieves. Disgusting.
Kevin, every time Keir Starmer opens his mouth, he's telling a lie.
How do you tell when Keir Starmer's lying? His lips move.
His lips are moving.
If
But anyway,
you've worked hard, done well, and got a few quid, beware.
Yeah,
they're after you.
Give it
They're
away.
after you.
Do something else with it. But wait, because now it's time for small talk. And I think I've got the first one, and it's about the Olympics. I don't know if any of you have been watching the Olympics, have you?
No.
I mean,
rubbish.
I find it to be sort of hilarious because to me, it's not like a sporting sort of festival. It's not. It's more of a freak show.
Yeah.
To me,
Oh,
you
no,
know.
that I don't mind you saying, a freak show. The
It is.
opening ceremony.
The opening ceremony
most
was
disgusting
absolutely,
thing I've ever
utterly
seen.
ridiculous, right? And also, only I think today, a female boxer just dropped out of a fight that she was having with a biological male. 45 seconds she lasted. He landed one punch in her. So basically, they're now encouraging men to go into boxing rings to beat up women, and you get a gold medal as well.
We've got an
But
epidemic
listen,
of violence against women and girls.
yeah, we have. But apparently, the Olympic Village, according to the athletes, is too hot, too vegan, and rife with theft. You might need somebody like you to go over there, Peter. Organisers said the design of the self-cooling apartments would make air conditioning redundant. Obviously,
What
too
is
bloody hot,
self-cooling?
right? Well, it means they haven't got air conditioning, presumably. 5 thefts have been reported. A Japanese rugby player's had his wedding ring, a necklace, and 2.5 grand's worth of euros stolen. He told police that the items were stolen from his room without any sign of forced entry. A coach for the Australian hockey team has had his bank card stolen and used for £760 worth of fraudulent transactions. And on top of that, they've had to cancel the Olympic triathlon because this is the colour of the water in the River Seine, right? Apparently, it's got 2 kinds of fecal bacteria in it.
Well, let me have a look.
Yeah, do you want to have a look?
Yeah, let me have a see.
You're an expert on this. What do
Oh,
you think?
God, that's disgusting.
Is that really the
I'm going to
same?
give it a try. It's water
Have
from
a
the
little
Seine
sip.
because the Team GB guys actually, the Team GB guys actually said it doesn't taste too bad. So I'm going to give it a go.
Come on.
Oh, dear, oh, Lord. Oh.
Oh, crikey. Oh, I think we better move on.
Well, the fella who won the triathlon is from Lewisham, South East London.
Well,
done
he's
to him.
used to being swimming in the Thames, obviously. Kevin, what do you got for us?
I want to talk about the royal family's helicopter hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah.
They've elected to buy themselves. They've got a couple of clapped-out old helicopters. They've elected to spend millions of pounds on 2 brand new ones to ferry the royal family, particularly Charles and William. William loves his helicopters.
He loves the
He flies them himself.
He loves the environment. doesn't he?
Yeah,
They both
but
do.
no, that's the point. So they're going to ferry themselves around in the most environmentally unfriendly way imaginable. I don't give a toss. You can fly on private jets to your heart's content. I just don't care unless you're going to spend your spare time, like Charlie and William, lecturing us about ecology and we've all got to be green.
Has he not got an Aston Martin that's powered by cheese?
Yeah, but
Can he
you
not
know how much
Can he not get a
you know how much
helicopter?
that-
Can he not get a helicopter powered by cheese?
Yeah, this whole ecology thing is rubbish. We know the climate's changing. We have to adapt to live with it.
Yeah.
By getting everybody not to go in a helicopter or not to go in a car isn't going to make any
I
difference.
don't go in helicopters as often as I can avoid it because I'm frightened of dying, to be honest.
I like
They
helicopters.
They do drop out of the
I
sky.
like
All right, anyway, it's over to you. You've got your...
Okay, well, I'm really because I prefer animals to a lot of human beings on
Agreed.
the planet. And now scientists hope to send animals in an ark. Not very keen on religion either. To the moon in the hope of preserving endangered species.
How will that... Won't they die as soon as they get there?
The American Institute of Biological Sciences, that should be scrapped in my view, suggested that samples of the DNA of endangered animals could be stored on the lunar surface. These people talk rubbish.
Right.
Not only that, they get paid for it.
James, don't knock it. They're sending 2 Guardian readers to the moon.
that'll
'Cause that's
do.
about all that'll be left in
Yeah,
it.
don't give them a spacesuit.
Oh, that's okay.
Don't give 'em
Guardian
oxygen.
readers and members of the socialist, extremist, whatever,
Yes.
send them all.
But isn't it a good idea to, in case, everything goes wrong here and the world does in fact blow up, you could send all this stuff to the moon and then you could sort of reignite it and start again.
Yeah. But the way they're going to do it is
If it's
send
DNA.
live animals.
I thought it was
apparently.
said
Well,
DNA.
I've read it. It says it's going to lunar ark to save endangered species. Scientists hope to send animals in an ark.
Yeah.
But why not send the whatever bits of
Why
them
is
that
space
people-
travel so useless? I mean, they landed on the moon in 1969.
And never
They're
went
still
back.
not going anywhere. It should be Star Trek by now, but
should
it
be.
isn't, is it?
Yeah, because the same way we got rid of the Concorde.
Yeah, exactly
You
right.
know.
Yeah.
So,
Why?
Peter, over to you. What's yours?
Well, there's a mysterious video that's hit the internet and it's causing a bit of an online debate.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. So there's some CCTV footage, which hopefully we're going to see, and it's
Oh, yeah.
appeared on the chat room Reddit, and it seems
Mysterious
to show-
orb.
Can you see this? Yes, this orb, hitting a man,
Oh, aliens.
knocking him over.
Oh, yeah.
And as he's trying to leave his home. Now, many are speculating. There's some wild theories as to what it is. Some saying it could be a bird or a large insect. I don't think so. A trick of the light or even the paranormal. So far, efforts to locate the origin of the CCTV
It's
have been
obvious.
unsuccessful, but some are saying it comes from Colombia. Personally,
Colombia. Well,
personally,
the bloke's been on the stuff from Colombia. by the looks of it.
I think
Colombia's involved.
But, and we all know what they're famed for, but I reckon it's actually Huw Edwards throwing another phone away.
It could well be that. You may well be right. I mean, how bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very weird. Well,
Wait,
yeah,
it moves
alien.
round and...
Could be an alien transporter bringing miniature aliens to the country.
miniature aliens.
Yeah, well, we don't know how big aliens
Well,
are.
exactly.
They
So
could be
maybe,
here now.
well, maybe they are already miniature. I suppose you don't have to make
Well,
a
yeah.
miniature alien. They may already be miniatures.
That might even have been a flying saucer type.
Well, luckily
thing.
we've run out of time, fortunately.
Oh, what a
because
shame! I
The
was
show's
just
starting
getting
to
onto
go
that.
into sort of realms of fantasy. But that's all we've got time for on The Talk. Catch us on Talk on radio and online 7 days a week. And remember to subscribe to us on youtube.com/TalkTV. See you later.
Well.